Today we're going to talk about what could possibly be the next Verge within the cryptocurrency space. Now I have to be very, very careful making videos like this one because I know a lot of you are going to talk in the comment section that I'm manipulating the market or that I'm pumping my holdings. I get that. So let's go ahead and get the disclaimer out of the way. This is not investment advice. This is not financial advice. Do not invest any more than you're willing to lose. Do not take recommendations from me blindly, and also make sure that you do your own due diligence before you invest in anything, anywhere. It doesn't matter if it's a cryptocurrency, a stock, a bond, or a mutual fund. With that out of the way, let's talk about the recent pump that we've been seeing in Verge, and let's talk about where we might see other opportunities like this. I want to be very clear and say that this is not going to be a fundamental analysis video. There is nothing fundamental about this. This doesn't happen based off of fundamentals, plain and simple. Verge is up, wait for it, 4,000% in 3 months. And I imagine that it's actually fairly close to that if you go to the 1 month as well, but I didn't check that. 4,000%, which is complete insanity. And it's kind of come out of nowhere, and you can see here just how large the scale is, because you can see it was trading all the way down here at roughly that 60 to 100 Satoshi level range, and we are all the way up now at roughly 1.9 thousand, which is insanity. So let's talk about where you might be able to find another opportunity like this in the market, and I think it's going to be from the same space, and that is the privacy coin space. Now before I show you this chart, we need to be very careful, because I know a lot of people are going to say or disagree with what is or what isn't a privacy coin on a fundamental basis. But remember that that's not what this video is about. It's all about perception. So here we have a list of privacy coins as they are generally perceived by the public. Let me be very clear about that. This is a list of privacy coins as generally accepted by the public, meaning that yes, there are going to be coins within this list that do not fit your definition of what a privacy coin is. I want to stay away from that political debate. All we're trying to think about at the moment is in terms of speculation. If you think about it just in terms of speculation, all of those different political differences between what is and what isn't a privacy coin go away. So these are 8 different cryptocurrencies that are sort of in the larger size, or maybe this is 8. I had 9 on here, but Verge kind of manipulated the entire chart because it was up at 4,000%. This is a little bit more reasonable across the board. And if you look at this chart, this is over the 3-month period. The reason I did it over 3 months is because we started seeing a bear market in altcoins starting at the beginning of October. And when we saw that bear market in altcoins, I really wanted to capture that and see how these have recovered over this time horizon. Now, I didn't put Bitcoin on this chart because it kind of messed up with the returns for Monero and Dash, but it's right around 250% or so. So that kind of is another benchmark for you to put in there. And I would say Monero and Dash, if you take the average between the two of those, that's probably a fairly accurate representation of the sector. Now, I know that some people are going to disagree with that. The main reason I'm just saying it is because they're the 2 largest cryptocurrencies that could be considered privacy coins. Even if you just take one or the other, they're close enough to each other that it wouldn't matter. So I'm going to say somewhere in the ballpark of 225% would be the privacy coin index return. That's simple enough to me. So now we have a couple of outperformers and we have a couple of underperformers. And what I think is more interesting is the underperformers, because these have the potential to catch up in the future, and those are the 2 that I'm going to be looking at here. So you can see that those 2 underperformers are number 1, NAV Coin, and number 2, Zcash. Now between those 2, the reason why you see NAV Coin selected here is because NAV Coin is a much smaller cryptocurrency than Zcash is. If we look at this list here, you can see that Zcash is ranked at 23rd with a valuation of 1.6 billion, and then you can see that NAV Coin is all the way down here at a valuation of $150 million. Now remember, the point of this video is to find the next, so to speak, Verge. In that situation, then you'll find that NAV is obviously much more positioned to be able to get those types of returns. On the flip side, NAV has a much higher probability of going to zero, or at least losing a more substantial chunk of its valuation just because it's a smaller cryptocurrency. That's how it works. So when you invest in any of these smaller privacy coins, again, privacy coin is debatable, but if you invest in any of the smaller coins, you're taking a larger risk. Now, if we move over to a shorter time frame, you will find that NAV Coin is actually outperforming our relevant, so to speak, index, which is Monero and Dash. We take the average between the two of them, it's roughly 80%. At this point, you have two underperformers still. You have Zcash, and then you have Zencash. Now, Zencash is another possibility because it's below rank 100. I believe it's rank 103, and it has had pumps before, which means that there is an opportunity there as well. I don't like Zencash as much because I don't really hear about it as much from other people that are trying to shill for it. I hear a lot more about NAV Coin than I do about Zencash, but it is another possible opportunity. It is important to note, though, that Zencash is one of the top performers if you look at it over the medium term of 3 months. Given that, I do prefer NAV Coin, but you could consider Zencash as well. Zcash could be an opportunity because it's just done so poorly relative to the rest of the space. I don't generally see it, even though I've included it here. A lot of times I no longer see Zcash considered a privacy coin, even within the general public. I generally see that get excluded, which also, interestingly enough, might exclude some of the other cryptocurrencies on this list. The important part is, I tend to think that because Zcash is so large, the opportunity for a pump is much smaller. Now, if we look at the history of CoinMarketCap and look at where Verge was sitting back just a few months ago, or just previously in this month, excuse me, you can see it was all the way down at rank 83. And now we're all the way up at rank 15, right? So all you have to do is pick one cryptocurrency that does this sort of thing, and you can get astronomical returns. That's why I'm considering investing in NAV Coin. I'm probably going to, with a very, very small investment. And the reason I'm going to be doing very small is because when you get into the lower portions of this list, it gets a lot more risky. The other reason is that there's no fundamental basis for why I'm investing in NAV Coin at all. It's simply because the privacy coin space is seeing a lot of pumping at the moment. If you look at it over a 3-month basis, it's outperformed Bitcoin as we pull up to December because of the altcoin pump that we've been seeing towards the latter end of the month. As a result of that, I think there's a lot of people looking at the privacy coin space right now. These are some of the top names that people tend to look at within that space. As a result of that, we might see another pump in some of the smaller cryptocurrencies in the space. We already are seeing some pumps in some of these smaller cryptocurrencies that were sort of like, I wouldn't call medium caps, but towards the middle of the list. So that was PIVX, and then Komodo, I don't know how you say it. So it should be interesting to see what happens with NAV Coin over the following couple of months. These are just my thoughts for now. Again, remember that there's no fundamental basis upon which I'm basing this video. Anybody could have done this. This is a very simple analysis, but I thought it was worth looking into because the privacy space is fairly hot at the moment, and I don't think people are really caring about whether it is or isn't a privacy coin from a fundamental point of view. I think all that people really care about is it a privacy coin that hasn't pumped yet by the general public? So there we go. That's my thoughts at the moment. NAV Coin, probably not going to be the next Verge. I don't expect it to go up 40 times in the course of 3 months or anywhere close to that. But we could see a nice little pump in it at some point in the future. As a result of that, I will put a very, very small portion of my portfolio into it, and we'll see what happens. As usual, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you would like to interact with me a little bit more, I tend to comment more and be more active on my Steemit page. The reason why is because the number of comments tends to be a little bit more manageable, and also my responses are more accessible to most people. There have been times where I've responded to the 500th comment on a particular YouTube video, and because it's buried under so many other comments, It gets no likes, which means my response never gets seen. So this is a nice accessible place for you to see all of my responses in one location. In addition, there is a monetary incentive for both you and I to post on the platform. You can see the amounts that I get paid for each of these. This was a fairly substantial one, and you can actually see if I click on this here, some of the higher quality responses like this one. This guy spent quite a bit of time writing this up. You can see that if other people in the platform like your response, then they will actually upvote your content, and you can get paid a decent amount yourself as well. Even if you don't want to post on the platform, it could be useful just to check it out. So check out my Steemit if you're interested. There's a link in the description as well as in the pinned comment below. Otherwise, leave a like, comment, and subscription, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.